Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to the longest running superhero role playing game on Earth. As always, I'm your host, the Game Master, and today we're going to be talking about our version of Dr. Manhattan. But before we get into that, hit that like button, subscribe, ring the bell, and as always, leave a comment because that helps us out on our end. We've got a great community here, and it's all thanks to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. With all that said, let's dive in. The prologue to this one takes place in August of 1959. Janey Slater and John Osterman are both scientists working at Gila Flats. Janey asks John if he fixed her watch yet. He says he did, but left it in his lab coat when they were resetting the intrinsic field chamber this morning. And on Earth K, it's Janey who enters the chamber to retrieve her watch. The huge vault door closes. When some of the other scientists return from lunch, Janey asks to be let out, but Dr. Glass explains that the door has locked automatically while the generators warm up for this afternoon's experiment, removing the intrinsic field from concrete block 15. Janey cries and panics. She says, "Oh God, this can't be happening. This can't be happening." John Osterman says he'll stay with her until the end. Janey screams as the shields slide back from the particle cannons. Then it happens. There is a blinding light, and it takes her to pieces. Which brings us to the main plot of this game session. It is November 22nd, in the home of John Osterman. John and his new girlfriend are in bed together, sleeping, when the room is disturbed by a sudden rise in electricity. Little blue lightning bolts appear and dance off of every metallic surface. The hair of John and his new girlfriend stand on end, and finally, on this day, Janey Slater fully manifests at last. Her skin is blue now, her eyes are white, but it's her. She appears floating naked in the air. John and his girlfriend are sunburnt from the extreme burst of ultraviolet light. Their faces look bleached and horrified in the light. And to say that Janey is unhappy with John would be a vast understatement. They scream and run, and Janey looks in the mirror. She looks at her bald reflection, and the first thing she decides to do with her omnipower is give herself a full head of hair again. Janey is upset and uses her newfound teleportation to go to Mars, where there seems to be no light pollution. Here, she sits down on a large pink rock and looks at the stars. She cries and thinks about John. She tries to sort out her thoughts, but everything is weird now. Past, present, and future all seem to be one thing, everything happening out of sequence. She couldn't perceive time like this before, but now she can, sort of. Something in her future is interfering with her precognition. Just then, she's attacked by Ares, god of war, who, as we said in previous videos, relocated to the planet Mars shortly before the Golden Age began in 1938. Ares asks who dares enter his domain, and Janey searches past, present, and future for an answer. She says she's Dr. Manhattan. Ares asks if she's a god. Janey says she's nothing like a god. And with that, we roll initiative. Dr. Manhattan's base initiative is 49, and she rolls a 1. The base initiative of Ares is 45, and he rolls a 9. So Ares goes first. He shoots a 20 AP energy blast at Janey, whose dexterity is now 15. So Ares needs to roll a 7 or higher on two 10-sided dice. He rolls a 3 and a 7, so he succeeds, but earns no column shifts. Janey's body is now 18, so she takes 6 points of damage. Now it's Janey's turn. She has 25 APs of Omni power, which she substitutes for regeneration, getting back her lost hit points. She also has 20 APs of growth, so she uses it. She is now over 200 meters tall. Her strength is raised to 40, and her body is raised to 38. Having used up her automatic actions for her one remaining dice action, she tries to step on Ares as if he were an insect. He needs a 7 or better. She rolls a 10 and a 6, earning 2 column shifts. To calculate the damage, that's her new strength of 40 versus his body of 16. She does 27 points of damage, taking him down to negative 11. But Ares has 25 APs of invulnerability. So the GM rolls 25 versus 11. And if the GM gets a 3 or better, Ares will get some hit points back. The GM rolls a 5 and a 1. So Ares gets 13 points back. Now his body is back up to 2. Ares subs his 20 APs of sorcery for regeneration and then is back to full health. Then he uses his 8 APs of growth. So his strength is raised to 30 and his body is raised to 24. Ares tries using 15 APs of Mind Blast, but Janey has a mind of 30, so she takes no damage. Player who was playing Janey asked which one of Dr. Manhattan's powers would she use to do to Ares what John Osterman did to Rorschach at the end of the Watchmen comic book series. We looked at Dr. Manhattan's character sheet and we weren't sure. In the end, though, we agreed that matter manipulation was probably the best fit. So Janey subbed her Omnipower for Power Reserve, which fueled her matter manipulation, raising it to a whopping 60 APs. Then she used it on Ares. She rolled a 10 and a 3, earning 1 column shift. To calculate damage, that's her 60 APs of power versus his body of 24. She does 39 points of damage, removing the intrinsic fields that hold Ares together, taking him down to negative 15. His invulnerability then kicks in, and he gets 14 hit points back, but he's still knocked out with a body of negative 1. So Janey goes again, doing the same thing she did before, this time rolling a 10 and a 7, earning 2 column shifts. So she does 41 points of damage, and the body of Ares is taken down to negative 42. Ares gets one last invulnerability roll, but he needs a 21 or better to live, and he doesn't roll that high. So Ares dies. He screams as Janey Slater rips his particles apart, splattering him on the Martian soil. Which brings us to our epilogue. The White Martians served Ares, and when he dies, some of them attack Janey, but it is far easier for her to kill them than it was for her to kill their master. Left and right, White Martians explode into a bloody mist. And while normally a Martian can regrow itself if there's a chunk of it remaining, Janey takes each chunk apart bit by bit until there's nothing left to regrow anything. The army of Ares disintegrates, and Janey goes back to sitting on a rock, staring at the stars, thinking about what she's become, and wondering what the future holds for her. Whatever it is that is blocking her precognition, it wasn't Ares. Janey does eventually figure out who it is that is preventing her precognition from working right, but that's a story for another day. We enjoyed playing this one. We hope you guys enjoyed hearing about it. If so, as always, smash the like button, check to see if you're still subscribed, ring the bell for notifications, and be sure to leave us a comment, as that really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. From all of us here at the longest running superhero RPG on Earth, we hope you guys have a great week, and we will see you in the next adventure. Bye.